Go back, everyone. Brother Craig and Jonah here.
All right. Yeah, you've mastered yourself.
The tonsure is next. I'm gonna get my hair cut and get the hair shirt. Maybe for Lent I'll start whipping myself.
We can bring some ashes too. Sprinkle those on you.
Yeah.
Man, you're in great shape.
Complete the ensemble.
Yeah. So how are things going with your abstinence trial? What day are we on?
20. I just tweeted about it this morning.
And you master your domain?
I am.
Incredible.
I didn't think it was possible. Like, I went into this thinking there's no way.
Yeah.
But what I lacked in belief and confidence, I made up for in pure stubbornness and fear of letting you and everyone else down.
So you have to do this publicly, is what you're saying.
Apparently. It's the only thing that's kept me going sometimes.
Do you have moments where you think, I can't do this?
Not as many as I would have thought.
Okay.
There was a couple times last week I was like if I hadn't gone public about it, I would have ended it.
But you're too stubborn to quit.
Yeah.
I like it.
I am. I've always thought, and this is what always frustrated me about this is, and not to toot my own horn, I'm a pretty determined guy.
Mm-hmm.
I do a lot of hard shit in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And so I knew it was never really that I'm just that weak. I mean, I'm a weak human, whatever, but
yeah,
there's more to it than just being a weak person that needs to be in control of your body and all that. It's different.
Mm-hmm.
But kind of going out and being official about it, and not even that, just setting it up as a goal for myself. Like, I have personal pride. It's something I want to accomplish. It's kind of like when I'm in the middle of a really hard workout and I'm crying inside and want to stop, I push through it. I keep moving. I mean, that's kind of what's got me through this. It's strange. It's a strange deal.
So you don't even feel any sort of temptation to do it anymore?
Very, very little. Like, I wouldn't say I've even really come close to it.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Man, you are just total self-master.
Well, I've disproven a lot of the claims I've made on this show over the.
Well, that's good.
I'm willing to be the bigger man and acknowledge where maybe I didn't know. Well,
it's fine to be transparent.
Yeah.
That's better than Christopher West, I think.
Yeah. I mean,
although maybe he's right now. Maybe you're going to do a Christopher West style podcast from now on.
I would not have seen that coming. I mean, this podcast was born out of sheer desperation and despair. And now I'm going to be the NFP
for now.
Yeah, that could all change tomorrow.
Yeah. What was I going to say? I don't know. That's incredible that you've overcome the temptation. You don't even feel the urge to be with your wife, or you just don't think about it.
No. I think that is still there.
Okay.
But the temptation for self-abuse seems to have
subsided a little bit.
It doesn't, yeah.
Have you gained any no-fap superpowers?
At times I think I have, and times I think I haven't. Maybe I'm hallucinating or something like that. There is something about being in control of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there is a level of confidence, I mean, there is something about being master of your domain that I can't really explain.
All right.
Because in the past, I always felt like this was something that I was weaker than the whatever it was I was dealing with, right?
Mhm.
And I don't like feeling that way. I like feeling like I can conquer anything I
Mhm.
want. And in the past, I've always approached it from a moralistic perspective, and oh, I gotta, I'm sinning and all this and that. And that, for whatever reason, even the possibility of hell never seemed like much of a deterrent in the moment.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Going and walking in shame over to the confessional and taking care of that. I mean, it's never pleasant, but
Yeah.
you get used to that. It's not. It doesn't really discourage you in the moment that
Mhm.
much, I don't think. But being a man of pride and being a man that um, wants to know that he can accomplish what he sets out to accomplish, at least for me, apparently, is um, the motivation I needed, which is different. I mean, the guys that having come across a lot of different folks during this process that have given me lots of different feedback, warnings, hey, way to go, kind of thing. First of all, the people that said our this was going to destroy our marriage are wrong. It's not. It's I don't know if we've thrived. What has allowed us to thrive is that I've been able to. So a couple things. Number one, I think I've been able to open up and have communications with my wife without fear of it turning into a fight that carries over into.
Affects intimacy.
Yeah, that was, for better or for worse, has always held me back, because when that seems to be in short supply, having that taken away means a lot more.
Yep.
Um,
Now you can just let it all hang out.
no, it doesn't matter. I mean, although they have long
Long
memories,
memories, yeah.
so we'll see. But I I haven't stepped any major bear traps yet that I know of, and I've kind of put myself out there.
He'll
And
let you know.
yeah, there's usually immediate feedback, and so that's probably number one. And number two, she's kind of let her guard down a lot, and I think there's been times when she has suggested to me that things that I do for her, nice things, acts of affection, and things like that, are she suspects they're laden with some ulterior motives,
Mhm.
which hasn't really been the case. Although I told her, I says, well, I said, you're a responsive desire person. You're a crockpot, as they say. It takes time.
Mhm.
Do you want me to warm you up in the day or not?
Mhm.
And I said, that was so one of the major, major, major issues that I've had with NFP, and I'm not sure we have a solution to it, although I've thrown some suggestions out there that we're going to implement. Is I said, it's one thing to get through the abstinence period, which is difficult in and of itself, but I don't know. For me, come day one of the non-abstinence periods, I need to know that my trial is over.
Mhm.
And under our circumstances, with large family, including the 2-year-old that you got a little taste of recently,
Mhm.
is really, really difficult. And you know, my wife has never been a big fan of trying to get up early in the morning to make this happen.
Mhm.
Not a big fan of doing it during the day. Not a big fan of doing it when the kids are at home. And so we've sort of defaulted to whenever all the kids are asleep, and sometimes that's 11:30 at night, and sometimes it's after midnight, and then the game gets called,
Mhm.
postponed. And I said that's the really, really hard thing, is you try and make it through. Like, I can put my head down and get through it, but I need to know that I can
There's an
stop.
end in sight.
Yeah, I can stop swimming here a little bit.
Mhm.
And that's where I found the stress never really let up. Um,
Mhm.
that feeling that it's not really in my control whether something happens or not.
Mhm.
And I told her that, and I said that's always been the hardest thing for me. And I don't know why it took me so dang long to figure that out and communicate that to her, but she knows now. for what it's worth.
Mhm.
So
Sounds like maybe you want to carry this over for a whole year.
well,
Sounds amazing. If you were an abstinent salesman, I think everybody's buying.
it's been very good. I mean, I'm really, really glad I did it. I wish I'd have approached it a little different way. I mean, I started it on a day of absolute frustration because it was during the quote unquote infertile time and it had been a week because of all
Mhm.
this stuff. And to me, that's, I don't want to say it's unacceptable, but in my mind, that's just unacceptable. To, we have like we have barely a week, just over a week of infertile time anyway.
Mhm.
And when you spend most of that sort of disappointed, it's like, what's the point of this even?
Mhm.
Um, it doesn't seem to make all the other abstinence worth what you're getting when it can happen. And I thought maybe total abstinence is easier than this, and I would say it is easier than that.
Well, that's good news.
Yeah. So
So you don't fear your wife anymore, or like fear her taking away things from you because of what you say. You're in total control of yourself. It doesn't even bother you anymore. Why even go back?
because there is something missing. I mean, there there is absolutely something missing from our marriage that is great and wonderful. That connection. I don't thrive. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not thriving the way that I can
Mhm.
when intimacy is present and regular. I think last year we had a period of it was a postpartum before cycles came back. We had about 4 months, 4 months where we just made a commitment to every 4 days,
Mhm.
and that was by far the best time of our marriage. Everything was just flourishing. I was flourishing. I didn't think about this, um, and so there's an absolute benefit to intimacy. Um, it's there's a lot you give up. I mean, there's a high price to be paid when you're using NFP and you have to give it up for 2 weeks and then
Mhm.
another week and all that. But there's enormous benefit there. But I think the price of it outweighs the benefit if you've kind of got these unresolved issues going on that we have had, that at least based on conversations maybe we have a solution to, but I haven't tested them in real life yet.
Are you nervous to go back?
um a little bit. I mean, this insulates me from a lot of pain, but I've like it truly is. There is something about taking something away. Depriving yourself of something is different than someone else depriving it for you,
Absolutely.
right?
Mhm.
Yeah, it's just a psychological thing, I suppose. But um,
Your whole situation reminds me of this experiment they did with mice, where they put them in water just to see how long they could swim.
hmm,
And I think most of the mouse, they drown after like 5 minutes. But then in a second group, they picked the mice up before the time period ran out, like before the 5 minutes or whatever, like that they would drown. And then they put them back into water, and then they're able to swim for days,
hmm,
just because they thought somebody was going to come and save them.
hmm. there. I mean, there is something about that belief, um, and so I mean, if we resume and it kind of goes back to the way it's been historically, I mean, on the one hand, This is how funny. It's funny how things can change. And I know you gave me grief when we started this podcast, but at that time, we were our kind of regular schedules once a week.
Yeah, I didn't feel too bad.
Yeah.
Like I was like, oh, I had no idea that you were complaining about once a week.
Now I kind of want to go back and strangle that guy too.
Yeah. Maybe your wife does too.
Well, so related to that, so we're talking about a ceasefire.
What are you talking about?
Possibly as early as Thursday, 2 days.
What?
Mm-hmm.
No, you're not giving us up. You better not. I want to see how long you can go.
You might have to wait.
Oh, boy, I'm disappointed. That, like,
but I want to try out some of these things we've been working on. But I know I can go back if I have to.
Do you really think you can? You're gonna have to make it public again, or do you think you can just overpower this, or use your willpower to overcome it?
Like, I'll go public with it again, but I think I can. I'll let you know.
I've been a poor accountability partner in the past.
Well,
because whatever you've done here, I don't know if you could do it again. Like, you've never been able to do this for like 20 years. You did it this one time because you made it public and you used your stubbornness to kind of overcome it. But will you have that same level of stubbornness?
But I have belief now. Like I know I can do it. Like I know.
You know how to get past that mental hurdle.
Yeah.
Or physiological hurdle.
I think so. I mean, like I have not been attacked at night the way that I have in the past.
Why do you think that is?
I think by and large we are products of what we believe can happen. I think the mind is a powerful tool. And I've often reflected on these guys because the guys that, let's say, have kind of like totally overcome this. And some of them went on like a 30-day novena to St. Joseph and stuff like that, which I'm not discouraging anyone from doing that. But a large part of me thinks that maybe that was just enough to develop the belief that they could do this. Because if your mind believes you can do it, you can do it. If you're convinced you can't do it, you're probably going to fail. And
it's a new Craig.
Yeah. Well, it fits into stuff that I've been doing in other parts of my life, coaching and mindset, setting goals in the last year, and I see the fruits of that. So I think for a long time I just didn't believe it was possible. And like I said, to be honest with you, I didn't believe it was possible going into this, other than I was just so damn stubborn and I'm like, I'm going to do it. And it hasn't been easy, but it has not been as hard as I thought it would be.
I don't know if this is the same guy.
I'm telling you, I haven't had this much peace in a long time.
Why would you give that up? Like, I mean, seriously. Like, well, because you think about, you're trading the intimacy for the peace.
Well,
the intimacy is worth more than peace.
Here's what I'm thinking. I know that I can do the regular 2 weeks of abstinence now, I think. Although that is the hard part. I think the first 2 weeks is the hard part.
I don't know. I'm dying to see that too, I guess. So
I'd like to see if I can do that without being.
Because the problem is, so like for me personally, I know how I would react if I had been on this long of a streak of abstinence, that once we were intimate again, that would eat me alive. Like I would want to do it again, probably. And there's just only so much time available to do it again, even if you do it twice a week, the first week. I mean, it's something that would, I think, be in my head.
Well, would you like to hear some of the suggestions that my wife and I have talked about?
I wasn't sure if you wanted to share, so I didn't ask, but I would love to hear them.
I mean, these were my ideas, so I don't think
Okay.
I'm revealing anything too confident or confidential. So I said probably the biggest reason I have failed at the NFP thing has always been you get through the abstinence period and now it's time to play.
Mhm.
That doesn't always happen. And and I kind of went through the thing. Well, okay, what if we always wait till the end of after the kids are sleeping? Why not? We have babysitters in this house. Let's just go work on our taxes for an hour,
Mhm.
whatever, half hour, an hour,
10 minutes,
10 minutes.
5 minutes.
It won't take long the first time. And and she's, for whatever reason, completely uncomfortable with the kids having the possibility that's happening, even though they know it happens. But I have not been able to. I do not understand the bear. I mean, I kind of understand it,
Well,
but
it's not really that big a deal. I mean,
yeah,
like, it's not like the house is shaking or whatever. I'm guessing they would probably have. They're just playing video games or watching TV.
right
So
there. I think she gives the kids too much credit for
the
being
teenagers
perceptive.
are not that aware.
But even if they are, big deal. Like to
Yeah.
me, if we had been able to get past that, if she had been able to get past that, I think a lot of our issues probably wouldn't have.
And it's good for the kids to know you have a loving
Right.
relationship. I mean, I think that's
Right.
important too.
Right. But that's for her. That's a huge hang up, and so that is greatly restricted our control over how and when things happen. And I says, okay, well, let's get up early in the morning. I don't want to get up early.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that really limits the options. You want to go get a hotel room somewhere? Well, that's kind of and finally I said, why?
You're building a new shed.
Yeah,
Just put a loft in there.
well, I've scoped out different places in our property, which is one thing in the summer. It's not so good when it's this temperature outside. But I said, you know what? What if we tried this? Day one, we set the alarm for 5:30 a.m. and we just I said, I promise you, if I know I just got to make it till 5:30 a.m. on this day, I said I can put my head down and I can shoot for that, and I can go to sleep the night before not worrying and I don't have to get up through a whole nother day of
Mhm.
maybe it's going to happen, maybe it's not. I said if you give that to me, I said that changes the dynamics significantly. I said, it'd be even better if we just try it twice that day. Twice. I'm like, well, in the morning, and then if it works out, let's do it again in the evening. Like,
But so you're really shooting for the moon here.
she didn't stop me, so I just kept.
Yep, that's how negotiation works.
Yeah,
Start big.
you tell me when
work.
when the price is too high here.
Work back towards the middle.
So
Right.
I said, so if I knew that's what I had to look forward to on day one of the Inferno, like I'm telling you, I could walk through a bed of hot coals for that.
Mm-hmm.
It's really hard to do that when you're like, maybe it happens, maybe it doesn't.
Yeah, that is hard.
So
that is true. Having a goal or something that you know that is going to happen is really important.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
So to me and this is where something I'm going to put my foot down a little bit and say, look, if we have our oldest son's at the military. I said, if the only time you could talk to him was at 5:30 in the morning and the rest of the time you couldn't, I said, as well as I do, you would be up every single day for that because it's important to you. This should be as important.
What did she say about that?
I haven't had to use that on her because she said, okay, fine. But that was my justification for it.
I feel like talking to her son might be more important to her.
Well, probably is, but
it shouldn't be. But
it shouldn't be. I mean, I think this should be a priority.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, truthfully, for her, she enjoys it and she likes, I think, doing that for me.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just not a priority for her.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not.
We've talked about that before. It's usually way down on the list for women.
Mhm. And that's what you're always fighting. And I think that's a mistake that I made too many years, is trying to be too accommodating, I guess. Maybe it's like I should have just says, look,
some red pilled shit coming here.
Yeah. I mean, I should have stood up. Given what I was going through, I should have just had the guts to stand up and say, look, this is what has to happen. Okay. But I don't know, I was afraid or didn't have the confidence or whatever. But so that's the number one. I says, and then I said the second, and then we have this kind of shorter window at the beginning, the first, let's say 6-7 days, the cycle, which first 3 days, yeah, that's not something she wants to do. Usually we make one time happen. I said, let's go for 2 then. You give me 2 there, and we make it a priority, like first thing in the morning on the first day of infertility, and then ideally shoot for 2 that day. I said that would change the dynamic for me entirely. I think I could do it. So that's
the game plan. Huh?
That's the game plan. Maybe starting Thursday. But so
I have never been so disappointed in you, Craig. Like I've been eating this up.
So
that'd be the ultimate power move. You say, no, you know what? I'm good. I'm going to see this out to the end.
Well,
boy, that'd be just a psychological twist that she wouldn't see coming.
So we've been talking about this, ceasefire.
Okay.
And I'm like,
you sound like you're in battle.
Yeah. Well, I said, it is kind of a battle, but I said, part of me really wants to see it through. And I said, part of it, I'm concerned that you'll use it against me later on.
Oh yeah.
And she kind of chuckled.
She knows it's true.
And
just that she would say that you couldn't do it anyways is what you're worried about.
Yeah. I brought that right up to her. So that's the one thing holding me back from getting back into the pool with you. And I think she sincerely says, no, I'm not going to do that. But
yeah. I mean, and maybe because you brought it out, you already played the card. She won't bring it up, but
well, in the past, self-imposed sex strikes never go anywhere if you're the guy.
But this one has, apparently.
And I know in my mind that if I have to, I can go back to that. Jonah doesn't believe me.
I think you did it this one time because you were so stubborn and so upset. But maybe you could harness that energy in the future. But I don't know, just the Craig that I know. It may not come that easily the next time. I don't know. Maybe it will.
So I says, well, what I'm thinking is I'm kind of thinking about doing this again in Lent. She looked at me like, why? Like she really doesn't understand why. I'm like, it's you don't know what it's like to go through abstinence. I said, abstinence is, I said, there's something about accomplishing something. There is something about giving something like that up. And I said, and I do think that it's been good for our marriage to not have that expectation or possibility out there. So I said, I'm kind of thinking about doing it again in Lent. And she's like, well, does that include Sundays?
That's fine. Saying that's true.
I wasn't sure what she meant by that. If she was hoping that we'd still have Sundays, or she was
maybe she doesn't want to tell you that she actually misses it.
She's been giving me some signals that
you got it. You got to be strong, then. This is your chance to really strengthen your position.
The other day we were talking about menopause because that's all NFP couples have to look forward to is menopause.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, what if I just turn into a maniac, like an intimacy maniac? during menopause. I'm like, yeah, that'd be terrible, wouldn't it?
So what does that say about her the way that she thinks about this stuff? Like, do you think she's holding back because she doesn't want to get pregnant? And so then once the governor is taken off, she's just going to go buck wild? Well, you can only,
Maybe.
that's your dream, right?
Yeah, let's bring on menopause. Having seen other relationships and other, like we're like literally, like even at our worst, again, we made it happen every 7 to 10 days, 2 weeks, whatever. Like we never went these months long dry spells and stuff like that. So she was always able to make it enough of a priority for that to happen. So maybe deep within the recesses of that mom, there is a tiger. I don't know. So I don't know. I'm conflicted because I have made it this far and I'm actually feeling pretty good. It's easy for you to say, buddy.
But you know what? This is your moment. You got to seize the moment. Like, you can do this. You made it this far and you're out of like the painful stage. You're in like this mental you're a Jedi. You've done it.
I feel like I have some leverage here. Like I feel like
for the first time in your marriage, you have leverage. And you're going to give that up just for one night.
That'd be one morning. And then maybe the night too. We'll leave.
Unless it's a Wednesday morning, then you have to be here at 5:30.
Yeah.
I could wait 15 minutes for you.
Yeah, I'll be there at 5. So I don't know. I mean, I feel like I'm in a good position here and I'm weighing my options. And I don't the part of me that wants to have a ceasefire is only because I feel like we've made some enormous progress in our relationship as compared to before. Okay. I'm not just going back to the way all the stuff that made me so frustrated. I just wanted to give it up entirely. Like, I think there's the possibility this could really change things. No, that's easier said than done.
No, that is difficult. And there's always circumstances that delay even the best laid plans.
Yeah. And so I'm at the point, what's going through my mind is I think we've accomplished a lot and I've accomplished a lot. And I'm not sure that me just doing this for another, what do I got? A month and a half.
Oh, you're faltering. I can hear it.
Well, I don't know what that gains the marriage. I mean, it gains me, I guess. But
it's an incredible feat. I mean,
not according to the guys at Twitter.
You're on the precipice of like an incredible act, like an incredible feat. I'm just gonna throw all that away. I am so thoroughly impressed that you have no idea. I think many people are. Like
honestly, that's
for those guys that can do it. They think, like for the two other guys that can do this, they think, oh, this is nothing. Yeah. But for the rest of us, this is quite impressive.
Yeah.
And I'm already impressed by day 21 or whatever. But
I don't know.
I won't fault you if you accept the ceasefire, but I was rooting for you to go the 2 months.
It will have been almost a month since we did anything. Oh no!
Cry me a river. But it is impressive that you held it together the whole time.
As I've always thought, and this is the problem with NFP, is right now day 20 is easier than day 10 was, right? Like, not saying it's easy, but it's easier. It's not as difficult.
Just because it doesn't feel the same,
right? The body is not. I think the body has kind of gotten the message here.
We're shutting it down.
Yeah. Whereas day 7 or 8, like, what the heck's going on, buddy? We're all ready to go. What are you doing?
You better get your butt in gear.
Yeah, and that to me is the part. Not every day of the abstinence is the same, right? Day 1 is not the same as day 20, which are not the same as day 8 or 10.
But maybe day 20 is the same as day 40. We'll never know. Inquiring minds want to know.
I haven't totally ruled it out.
It'd be the ultimate power move. Like, I am telling you what, she would be shocked, especially with, all the conversations that we've had and you've had with your wife about how important this stuff is. Like, it would be an incredible move.
When I first started, she's like, "This isn't some weird experiment you're doing for your podcast, is it?"
Well, not just the podcast, it's for Twitter as well.
I kind of lied my way around that a little bit. I said, well, and it's true. I said, I just kind of want to see if I can do this.
Yeah.
But for better or for worse, I have not really approached this from a real spiritual perspective. Okay. I haven't been like, I mean, I'm still praying, but it's not like I'm
praying about that.
Yeah. And quite frankly, I think it's been better that I haven't been dwelling on it. But maybe, like I said, maybe if I did it during Lent, with more of an attitude, I'm going to kind of unite this to the cross and whatever. Maybe it would be a more spiritually fruitful thing than it has been.
You should watch the movie. I don't think you've seen it. 40 Days and 40 Nights. Yeah, it's where this guy gives up any sort of act like that during Lent. And it's a teenage movie from like the early 2000s, but there's some funny parts in it.
Yeah, well.
So, I don't remember. I don't know if I can really totally endorse it, but there's some funny parts in that movie. But I don't know what's going to happen when you shake up the champagne bottle and uncork that thing for the first time. Like if all that comes back, like if all the self-mastery just drains out.
Well, here's part of and maybe I'm just trying to talk myself into this, but I mean, if I can master the self-mastery part and get through the 2 weeks of abstinence, and I mean, I as much as I criticize NFP, there's something about it that's really powerful, and there is something about having that time off and then coming back together that is powerful. But I've long thought that NFP for most of us is really not possible, and I'm still skeptical. But maybe I have some belief that it actually can happen now.
You're part of like the 1% club.
Yeah, well,
for a month anyway.
Except that, I mean, I don't know. I had 20 plus years of failure at it, and if I can overcome it, and maybe anyone can, I don't know. Even you, Jonah.
You just have to go public with it. Really helps firm up your intention, huh?
Well, so what I was thinking about is if we did more of a group thing in Lent to say who wants to join, and you can put yourself out even in the group itself. Maybe you don't all go on Twitter or whatever, but
$100 a piece on the line.
Well, I thought about that. I mean, we could make it a friendly wager. Get the wives invested too. Like, hey, look,
but they got to pay more money.
Yeah,
I mean,
well, not the wives involved as participants, but encouraging their husbands. Okay?
Oh, okay, sure.
I mean, maybe we do put some real loot on the line.
You're feeling really confident.
I think I can.
I'd start sending you every nude post I can find on Twitter.
Let's mute this guy for 40 days. Sorry, Jonah.
Here's a landmine, buddy.
Yeah. Right. I don't know. I mean, I'm very, very glad I did it. I would recommend this to anyone, even if what I should have done on well, I don't know. Maybe this is the way I mean, one cycle seems not quite enough. Like, I think because we're already abstaining for more than half of it anyway, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my thought is 2 cycles is the real test. 2 months is the real test.
Yeah, I thought that's what you're doing.
Well, maybe I am. You want? I guess this episode won't come out before I've had to make that decision or not. But
Well, we'll look forward to hearing about it the next time. I don't know. I mean, I
don't
totally
want to
know
let you
why
guys
give in,
down.
but you just seem to have this definite sense of confidence that you're willing to throw away.
It's been liberating. Like, I'm telling you, there's something about not being dependent so much. Like,
Mhm.
that's always been, to me, there's been a
Yep.
complete disparity of leverage
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to this part, because most of us can't be like, all right, fine, you're treating me disrespectfully, I'm cutting you off. This doesn't have any impact unless you're willing to go a long time,
And you are.
and I am. You think I should tease her longer?
I will. She would never see it coming. Like, that would be a total twist.
What if she then does say, you don't need me anymore? I mean, I'm putting a lot of
See,
I'm gambling that she has that inner tiger in her, and that she's not serious when she says this is more of a.
this
She
is like a
does this for
nuclear
me.
arms race.
Yeah,
Like this mutually
it
assured
is.
destruction.
It
right
is.
here.
It totally is.
It's just a chess match.
Or like the Hunt for Red October or whatever out there in the.
So, are you America and she's Russia, or how do you see this playing out? Like, I'm wondering who's Putin in this case.
No comment.
Yeah.
Not that she ever watches this, but if it should ever get back.
Yeah. Well, we wish you luck with your decision, Craig. The fate of the free world is in your hands.
Yeah. No pressure. No pressure.
Because frankly, I'm amazed you made it this far, and I wasn't sure how long you could really make it. Because I mean, we'll never know if it's easier day 30, or day 40, or day 50.
So maybe I'm underselling how. I mean, it's
an impressive feat so far.
It's not easy, but it's not overwhelming. Like, it's a manageable difficulty.
Despite how overwhelming it felt for the first 20 years of your marriage.
Yeah.
So why do you think you could do it before versus this time?
I think it's I don't know. Maybe I'm just getting older. I mean, I have that 20 years of pain reminding me of how miserable I was with that.
It kind of reminds me of this quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles named Kevin Cobb. He had an incredible 3 or 4 game stretch at the end of the year. I think it would have been roughly 2008, 2009, but he was just on fire. He threw 3 touchdown passes every game. He got a huge contract after that and just couldn't do it again. So I'm not sure if you're the Kevin Cobb of solo mastery, or if this is going to be a new you. I don't know. I'm just curious.
Did he have a YouTube channel that he had to come in and be accountable to his fans?
No, he didn't. I don't think. Not at that time. No. So.
I mean, I'll tell you guys what's going on. Unless it really goes off the rails, then maybe I'll have to plead the fifth for a while. But I mean, here's what I'll say. This is my final word, and I know we got to get you out of here so you don't get shot.
Yep.
I think abstinence, celibacy, long-term, whatever, is manageable and can be done. I do not believe that is the best way to live your marriage. I think a marriage with intimacy is almost always going to be better and desired over one that's not. even though there's going to be pain associated with that, I don't think we can give up on trying to make that work.
But if you're a single guy, do you think that the self-mastery thing would be easier and more beneficial?
Yeah, you're not. I mean, I still see my wife. I mean, she's been pretty discreet lately, but and I've been in the same room with her when she's going through ovulation last, a few days ago. I think it is easier, but you gotta get through that first couple of weeks and shut things down. I think that's where I think most guys fall short.
And it does remind me of this TV show called Alone, where people go and live in the wilderness for as long as they can. And that's kind of like your trial, where it's not a way to live, but you could survive in the wilderness for like 60 days if you had to, just eating fungus and moss and like whatever you can hunt down. But you wouldn't want to do that forever.
No, that's just it. I can absolutely do this if you have to, but I don't think our marriage is going to thrive indefinitely like this. Like, I really do believe intimacy is important and valuable.
Like, you feel like you'd be running on fumes after a
while. I do worry that things may start to rattle apart towards the end of this. And so that's my mindset is I'm not sure that another month and a half of this is necessarily going to be as good as the first.
Yeah. Well, we look forward to hearing about it.
But if we go back and things are not, I will go back. I'll do it longer this time. So
don't make me do it.
All right. Yeah. Now I can actually threaten that and actually believe in it, and she'll believe it too. So, okay.
Well, that's great.
All right.
Well, congrats, man, for making it this far.
Yeah,
we are rooting for you either way.
All right. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Thank you, Jonah. Thank you, everyone, for listening. And until next time, everyone.
Bye.
Have a good one.